Hey, what's up, guys? Hope everybody's fine. It's been a while. Hope everyone's keeping safe, especially with the situation that's happening in the world right now. Hope everyone is, keeping within the regulations of the government and everyone is staying safe and prioritizing their safety. For those of you who don't know who I am, I go by the name Yulu Goshe. I'm a sports journalist from East London in the Eastern Cape. If you want to know more about me, you can click on my page and check out my bio. And you can also find a lot of my stuff on my page that will lead you to more information about who I am and what I do and what I've done. So yeah, if you like sports and this finds its way to you and you're not on my page, feel free to like the page, share this video and get it to your friends as well and share the page so we can speak all things sport. So yeah, today the burning topic, of course, is Makazole Mapimpi turning down a move to Japan, a multi-million rand move to Japan, which has sort of divided opinion on various sporting platforms, social media pages, and so forth. You know, there are compelling arguments on both sides. Should he have stayed? Should he have left? What are the advantages of both, and all of that. So, for me, I'm gonna speak on what I feel he should have done, and just how I decode and try to dissect the whole situation and what I feel would have been better for him. Did he make the right choice, or was the other option the better one for him? And I was actually planning, I think like last week Sunday, to drop a video speaking on both Lukanya Am and Makazole Mapimpi because there's been a lot of speculation about them since Sorry gave rugby players in South Africa the platform or the opportunity to discuss um, better deals with overseas teams who can give them better deals within a grace period of 14 days, which I think came to an end today, or was coming to an end at like maybe midnight. Yeah, well, so a couple of players have gone, such as marquee players like Marks. He decided to leave. Dylan Lays is gone. Will Colo, Jamie Roberts went back home, and then players like Tyrone Green as well from the Lions, which was a bit of a surprise for me, a young player. I thought was the future of the Lions. He's gone, so his next move, I don't know where his next move is going to be. It's going to be a bit of an interesting one to watch as that develops, and I hope to keep a keen eye on that and maybe come and speak about that here on the platform too. But for me, I think the burning one was the Makazole Mapimpi one, and I wanted to do initially both the Lukanya and Mapimpi last week Sunday, speaking and analyzing what would be the better decision for them while the speculation was still rife. But I thought to myself, it's just 1 week to go before I actually find out what the decision is. So I said, okay, let me wait for a bit. So we've since found out that both have decided to stay. The Lukanya Arm video that I was gonna do on the side, okay, I'm basically gonna shelve that one, and we're gonna focus on Makazole Mapimpi and his decision to stay. Yeah, look, it's a tough one. It's a tough one indeed. But I don't know. I just feel as if, honestly speaking, in my opinion, Makazole Mapimpi might have just missed a trick here. I think he might have missed a trick with turning down such a lucrative offer. He would have secured his financial future for a long time. And if he has the right people around him, agents and good advice and people whispering the right things to his ears on investments and so forth, he could have been set for life, basically. And but yeah, he decided to stay. And I think for me, I found out actually this morning, maybe two hours before the actual news broke out on Sports 24, from a very reliable source of mine within the South African rugby structures, very close to people who were within the negotiations and very close to the player. And he actually hit me up and he told me, if you guys know the amount of money Makazole Mapimpi had just turned down in Japan, you guys would be going crazy. And I think he might have picked up that I was part of the brigade that wanted him to go overseas to secure his financial future. You know what I'm saying? So within the conversation, I didn't know what the figure was. They told me that the type of figure, if it would come out on paper, everyone would just go mad. And I was thinking of maybe, a couple of figures, but 9 million per year, that's after tax. That didn't even come to my mind. You know what I'm saying? And it's really, really crazy amount of money. But for me, I want us to look at this in three aspects. I want to break it down in three aspects on why I think Makazole Mapimpi might have missed a trick and might have just made the wrong decision. Three aspects are the player himself, Makazole Mapimpi. You're going to evaluate the player, where he's come from, and what's probably left of Makazole Mapimpi and what he's achieved. And the second aspect is what can Makazole Mapimpi still give? How old is Makazole Mapimpi? What could possibly be the incentives for him to stay in South Africa? And thirdly, the financial implications, and the financial situation around accepting a move like that or staying in South Africa to accept a pay cut. So yeah, first and foremost, we'll speak about Makazole Mapimpi himself. Now, look, I'm not gonna go, and speak about his whole history. I think after the World Cup, every publication was digging up different angles of Makazole Mapimpi's story. So there's nothing that I can tell you about Makazole Mapimpi's come up that you don't know. But we're gonna take it from a rugby's perspective, and to where he is right now. So he started off. This man went from club rugby to Springboks in basically 2 years. He went from Swallows, went to Rose, yeah, well, to his Springboks, and from that year 2016 to Ipokopoko 2018. Yeah, well, so this man his rise in the rugby ranks was so rapid. Yeah, boy, he's a late bloomer. He came up around 26. Yeah, boy, Super Rugby at 27. Yeah, well, Springbok at 28, World Cup winner at 29. Yeah, well, so he's 29 years old. He's gonna be 30 this year. Um, why would he stick around? What are the incentives for him to stick around at 30 years old? I mean, when you're 30 years old, you're a winger. You don't have that much time on the clock. You know what I'm saying? Because you usually rely on your pace, and biology will say that your pace will start to run down a bit. You know what I'm saying? So he had to move and act now. That's what I was thinking. You know what I'm saying? And when we look at Makazole Mapimpi's age and and what he's achieved in such a short space of time, in those 3 years, he has basically covered the career path of a superstar in South African rugby, but he just did it the long way around. You know what I'm saying? So he's got nothing to stay for. Every player in the world dreams of lifting the World Cup. That is the pinnacle of rugby, and he's already achieved that. You know what I'm saying? He did that so quickly. He's covered the distance according to his accolades, but what he hasn't done is cover the distance other players have covered financially. So that's why I say financially the move to Japan would have helped him cover that, and it would have been a good move to compensate well for the journey, all of his struggles he's had from border club systems to border Bulldogs all the way to being Ipokopoko. So for me, that's why I think he would have missed a trick. We're looking at his age again at 30. Um, could have been his last chance right now with how Sharks started the Super Rugby season. Would have made sense for him to go for another year. The Sharks, they were building quite a good team, good morale. Everything was positive vibe was buzzing around the camp, good camaraderie around. So it was a nice environment for him to be in. Coming straight out the World Cup, the whole place was buzzing because there were quite a few World Cup winners in that backline as well. So that does make sense a bit, but at the same time, now that the Super Rugby season is being curtailed, of course, they could have said, look, I don't have any guarantees about what's going to happen next season. We might not start the season like we did this season. The teams like the Blue Bulls are strengthening their teams. Stormers won't take the losses that they've had lightly. They'll have to sign and replace, so the competition is going to be stronger. The teams won't take this season lying down. They're going to try and match up to the Sharks. Some injuries might happen to the Sharks and they might not have the same momentum. So him staying and thinking he's going to get another chance, at the Super Rugby title is a risk. I'm not saying it won't work out. It can work out, but it is a risk, and let's just be honest about that. So I think for me, the best decision would have been to say, look, I tried, the season we had a good chance. I had a good feeling it didn't quite work out. I did commit after my World Cup heroics, it brought all the momentum to the Sharks. It looked like it was going to work out. But thank you very much, gentlemen. Right now, I need to go and secure my future. I'm 30 years old. Next season, I'm 31. The time is running out. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was really the decision that he was going to make. Because let's be honest, next World Cup 2023, Makazole Mapimpi, I don't see him being a part of that team purely because of the lifespan of what a wing, or purely because of the lifespan of a wing, especially international level. I don't think the system, I don't think too many have come through the system as 30 something year olds at a World Cup. We're number 11, especially not in South Africa. There's always a young winger trying to take your place. And you don't even have to look further for him. There's a young Madosh Tambwe in the same team who can easily switch to the left wing, and give him a run for his money and take his place in the Sharks and Springboks. This player I rate very, very highly, and I think should have been a part of the Springbok setup for at least 2 years now. But so many wingers in the country needs to bide his time too. But that's just another sign that Makazole Mapimpi, they can't rest on his laurels now. There are no guarantees, even though he's decided to stay at the Sharks. Yeah, well. So for me, maybe he wants to stay for the British and Irish Lions tour next year. That's understandable. But would he have not been eligible even if he went to Japan? I think, he would have been eligible to play for the Springboks still. So for me, that still doesn't, excuse them too much. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I really think all the signs are pointing at him going overseas, and touching on to the whole financial situation, uh, yeah, I don't know his situation at the Sharks. I don't know how deep the man's pockets are and all of that, but my guess is that they wouldn't be shortchanging him at the Sharks. I think they'll have him on quite a nice package, but I don't think the package would have ever matched anything he was gonna get, anything near the figure that was spoken about, the 9 million, and my source, one of the things I didn't get on Sports 24 that my source told me is that, the duration of the contract was a 3-year deal. That's what I'm getting. A 3-year deal. So, 9 times 3, that's 27 million rand for Makazole Mapimpi, just 3 years braving it out at Japan, yabo. And he would have probably been secured for life. I mean, the if he stays at the Sharks, he'll probably increase his package now, and he might spend the duration of his career at the Sharks, and the money that he'll get there will probably have him set for maybe 10 years, let's say, But the money that he would have got in Japan, I think that's got you set for life. If, like I said, you've got the right people in your ear whispering to you about the right investments and all of that. And for me, that's the biggest concern I had for Makazole Mapimpi. He had done everything he needs to do. Now, he just needed to be like the likes of Eben Etzebeth, Andre Pollard. Yeah, you've got your Jesse Creels, all enjoying the fruits of their labor overseas, trying to create more wealth for them, for their lives outside the sport. I think maybe it's a bit easier now to be immersed in what's happening at the moment. You enjoy the vibe now. The check you're getting is not that bad, so you're looking a lot at the here and now, the present, short term. But what the players who are seemingly always, well off after rugby, what they do is that they don't just look at the now, they look at the later picture. How am I going to be looking after rugby when rugby is a distant memory 10 years from now? When they're playing my highlights on TV, what's my package going to look like? What's my future family going to look like? How settled are they going to be? And these are the type of moves that were going to help Makazole Mapimpi as well. I think he would have been secured for life, bro. That's it, And sources coming from my source, and the information coming from him tells me that his agent was actually for the move, and he actually didn't believe that Makazole Mapimpi turned down such a lucrative offer. You know what I'm saying? But he was wary of pushing him. This is what I'm getting. was wary of pushing him to Japan in fear that if he doesn't quite crack it in Japan, it will come back to him and they say that he's the one that sold out on Makazole Mapimpi because he would have known that it's very hard for a player to go to Japan and adapt, especially of Makazole Mapimpi's ilk because he's used to being with the family that he's now got at the Sharks, and the language barriers as well. They will be hectic. Yeah, born and we've got to be honest, Makazole Mapimpi is not that proficient in English, and they don't even speak English in Japan. So even if they try to accommodate him, there's gonna be, too many, too many issues there. And when I saw the agent was thinking about it, things like that, yeah, well, and so yeah, I think he was wary of pushing him too much because of such. And what I'm also hearing from my sources that Makazole Mapimpi cited reasons as the family that he's got at the Sharks, how happy he is to be around Olukanyo. The closer contingent that plays a massive role, especially like I said, if you're not that familiar with a certain language and you get people that speak your language, you'll feel at home. You really feel at home, and that's what the Sharks have done, and they've been brilliant to Makazole Mapimpi, of course. And I feel as if that played a massive role, but I feel like as great as that is and as commendable as that is, I feel like it doesn't get it has no guarantees with it. A vibe and a good space can change in a short amount of time. He could get injured for a couple of months and his whole attitude could change. You know what I'm saying? Someone might take his place and he might not like that, and the whole vibe will change. He might be injured, God forbid, and then his career curtails from there. God forbid that happens. So, these things don't last, but the contracts that you get from Japan with that security for 3 years, you go there, at least try. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think, the contract and the security there will help you. You know what I'm saying? And there won't be any regrets because at least you tried to secure your future. No matter if you get injured that side, you went for the deal that was going to secure you for a lifetime. Yeah, well, so for me, ish, I really think he should have gone overseas when you look at all those factors, you know. And yeah, credit to him. A lot of people say it's a win for the Sharks. It's a win for South African rugby. Loyalty points for him, and that's fair game. They showed tremendous loyalty, but how big of a long term win is it for South African rugby? It can only probably go for me till next year's Super British Irish Lions tour, and for him as well. Can he win with the Shark the Super Rugby with the Sharks next year? That's a debatable thing. The only long term thing and long term decision of long term value for me is the one that he left behind, from Japan. So yeah, for me, I'm just thinking, he might have missed the trick there, dropped the ball a bit. So we'll knock on, yeah, well. But then yeah, you understand, man. Always all those situations for Aban Bakot, especially black people, is something that I've observed a lot, where we don't want to get out of our comfort zone. I don't know if it's just something I've seen from the people around me and the people that I've interacted with. Whenever you speak about going outside the country and settling, they just don't even want to look at that idea. We're so comfortable in South Africa. And other black people as well, they might look at brothers like, no, you still have to look after your grand, you still have to fend for other people. I don't know if he's got similar commitments like that, but those do seem to hold us back as black people. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like this would have even helped those people. When he gets the amount of money he gets there, if he's in a similar situation, those people will benefit as well, and they'll benefit a lot from him being brave enough to take that step. Yeah, of course, Japan is a different culture. There's a culture shock. He might have been wary of that. He's at home with the Sharks. Tetris claws. Why would you go and thrust yourself in a different environment just like that? And this is why I might also have a bit of an understanding of why it happened like this for Makazole. Maybe it's a case of you're happy in your family, and then all of a sudden your agent comes and says, hey, right, look, it's now or never. You have to pack up and go to Japan. Yeah. And you have to take all of that in, leave your family, go start another life where you can't imagine yourself living. It might have been all too much to take in for a man who, from what I've seen, just wants to play rugby. Yeah, well, but at the same time, I think for me that's a risk worth taking if you're professional. And the likes of Makazole Mapimpi have endured so much already in their lives. I think maybe 3 years in Japan, um, and with the promise of being set for life, wouldn't have been such a bad deal or a bad package for the man. You know what I'm saying? Culture shock aside, yeah, we attest to into zakuthi yabo Mapimpi uqala utyuluso yabo encindi ngoku ngeke business chopsticks yabo lawe. But for me, 27 million pounds, 27 million rand, I'll take that, bro. Come back to South Africa, nimbiza utata Charles Banyafunda. But I'll never leave a deal like that, to secure my financial future. And yeah, but yeah, look, to each his own, I guess, and you've got to respect the decision taken by Makazole Mapimpi, but I'm just a bit surprised, I won't lie. Um, I would have thought that he was on the same wavelength. And for me, the most, I don't want him to look back in 10 years' time and say, look, while he's watching, maybe let's say his tries, because they'll keep being repeated on Supersport for years to come. So he's watching some of his best moments from the 2019 Rugby World Cup 10 years from now, and that brings back sad memories from when it's all said and done. You know what I'm saying? And he's looking at his surroundings and saying, look, none of that on TV reflects my life right now. But a move to Japan at this moment that is just turned down could have been the catalyst for changing his whole life forever. Building a better home for his grandmother, for himself, and the future family that he will have. He would have been set for life. I mean, let's also not forget that South Africa right now and the rest of the world is hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. The economy is in a very delicate position, and he would have had a chance to have a head start on everybody else, but yet he decided to stay in South Africa. And now there's that 43% salary cut that he will get for the price of his loyalty. Yeah, boy. Loyalty is a good thing, but being too loyal sometimes might come back to bite you, because you never know when the loyalty will be reciprocated when you need it the most. A lot of people will give him the points for loyalty and all of that, and say it's not always about the money, and it's about the enjoyment and all of that, and enjoying your rugby. Okay, sure, that's cool. But in 10 years' time, when the rugby has gone away and the enjoyment of rugby has gone away, and now we're speaking about just the happiness and what you've achieved and how you feel as a person and what do you have from the sport. You know what I'm saying? Where are those people that are going to tell you it's all about rugby and the loyalty and that's what they appreciate? They won't be with you. They won't really care whether you're rich or poor. At the end of the day, they'll be looking at the next superstar who's there right now. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but lastly, this is the last point as well. I don't want to, that might be too far fetched, but and I don't want to pin all of this on Makazole Mapimpi. That's quite unfair. But he would have, I think, been an example of this. Black superstar, one of the first black superstars to go overseas. A catalyst, a pioneer for that movement, for that shift in mentality, for young black youth in South Africa. When they see a hero of theirs take a path to the unknown, you know, take a leap into the unknown and risk it all, be rewarded for everything he's done, and go and get rewarded, financially for it, for his journey. All the kids that are watching Mapimpi during the World Cup, calling themselves Mapimpi on the rugby field, in the communities at the time, they would have seen a different pathway. Even the young South African players right now would have seen a different pathway. They would have said, okay, no, look, it is possible for players of our kind to get these contracts overseas, and when it's all said and done, so we can also secure our financial futures and get something back from the game that we gave so much to. You know what I'm saying? It could have changed the mentality of a whole people, coming up in the game, believing that we can also be scouted by people who are overseas, who can give us the packages that can change our whole situation. Oh, a lot of people, especially from rural Eastern Cape, they have their rugby tenants to thank for taking them out of tough situations. So the least that they can, get back from the game is money to come back with and change their whole life situations. And a move overseas, whether it's Japan or Europe, that usually helps with that, you know. So I feel for me, he might have been a pioneer and a catalyst, to be the first real black superstar, Marquis Springbok, to take that route and show other people that, look, it's possible for us. You know what I'm saying? Change the mindsets of our people who just want to maybe stay at a top unit in South Africa and retire. They don't know about the money that they can get on the other side. You know what I'm saying? They can set them up for life. Players like Eben Elizabeth, those are players that aren't poor, but they've still gone there. What makes them so rich is because they can't get enough money. They're looking way beyond their here and now, you know. And sometimes maybe our players, they see the carrot that's dangled in front of them and they say that's okay for me. Even this is a lot, but they don't know that that's just a scratch on the surface. You can get much better than that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he made his decision, and we all have to respect that. It might not turn out to be a bad decision after all, but I just think the financial implications might play a huge role maybe in 10 years to come. I just hope he doesn't live to regret it. There's a player that I'm really fond of. Uh, don't know too much about him. I took a picture with him at an event last year with one of my close friends. He was covering an event, so we took a picture with him. And he's a very calm guy, and I think that's why maybe sometimes he's just a guy that wants to play rugby. So maybe that might play against him. Sometimes doesn't want the fuss. Remember how he dealt with the whole bomber squad situation. He just wants to play rugby. Maybe I don't know what the situation is, but maybe someone from the Sharks might have whispered something to him, and he said, "Okay, that's cool." You know what I'm saying? Because he just wants to play rugby. He comes across as that guy. So yeah, but I hope it works out for him. He's a very good talent from the Eastern Cape, and is a role model to the kids in the Eastern Cape. And I want to see it work out for him. But I must say I'm very shocked at the move, and we all have our own opinions. Some might differ. He will probably have his reasons. I don't know what's happening in his mind and in his camp, and they'll probably make sense of what happened. And yeah, but yeah, look, I've said a mouthful here. So if you're still here and watching at this point, please drop your views on how you think Makazole Mapimpi should have dealt with this. Did he do the right thing? Do you think he should have left? So yeah, that's my views, and I would love to see yours. No swearing at anybody, no fighting, just people relaying their views on how the situation could have been dealt. And yeah, guys, I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to like the page if you're not already on the page, and share it to your friends so they can see it too. And yeah, look forward to having more chats with you. I've got a lot more exclusives coming up, including some very, very good videos about a couple of player movements that I know of, thanks to my sources, of course. I hope to share it with you. Good, good chatting to you, and hope to see you next time. Cheers.